that looked like this.
Oh my gosh, I'm not as good as this kid.
Wait,
apparently.
This isn't footage of Dominique?
No.
You're kidding.
Watch this again. He just times up the snap count. In he comes, and boom, he's intercepting the pitch.
I mean, you need to mix up the snap count. I'm not sure if the quarterback is calling the plays in the huddle too loudly. Like, y'all need to figure out something, because this should never intercepting a pitch. Has this ever happened in the history of football?
Packers need that guy tomorrow.
I don't recall seeing it before. I do wonder why it doesn't happen more often. Like if you're that guy, if you're the guy and you happen to time it up perfectly like Polamalu used to do, then you go diving right at that.
Well, because it's someone's responsibility to block him. Like, this is an impossible play. That's why you've never seen it before, because it should never happen.
Okay, evidently not. Anyway, I love that play. Here we go. Next, we go to Baker Mayfield. He missed the first start of his NFL career last week after re-aggravating a left shoulder injury against Arizona. Browns play Steelers on Sunday. Coach Mike Tomlin had this to say about Cleveland's quarterback situation.
They didn't lose their personality at all. A solid veteran quarterback who's been a part of the program like Case has provides that opportunity for him. And so we're not overly concerned right now with who their quarterback might be. We're looking at what it is they do collectively, their run game, their coordinated play action and misdirection passing game, and how they utilize all the people that they distribute the ball to. We got some big-time challenges in that way.
All right, Keenum, Mayfield. We'll start with Kmart because Kimberly, many of you may not know this, has put down a down payment on a house in Cleveland because you cover the Browns, it feels to me, like every single week.
Don't go there.
So, what is the sense? How would you describe the level of desperation, if that's even the right word, on the part of the Browns to get Baker back on the field?
I think most of us would look at it as desperation. I don't think internally, I don't think they look at it as desperation. You know, this is why you pay a Case Keenum $10 million for these moments, because he's a competent veteran who has experience with Stefanski. But here's the deal. Baker is supposed to practice today, at least try to practice split reps with Keenum. It's to be determined whether he's going to play. A lot of people would say, you know what, here's a situation where you sit him this week because we saw Case Keenum win with their injured cast of characters. But there's no desperation in Cleveland. They feel really confident in whatever they have.
So this is why I like this topic, because we can juxtapose it to the conversation we just had about Dak. Mm-hmm. No one was sitting here going, rest Dak, because you're basically not losing anything by going to Cooper Rush. Even David Pollack and I, who were advocating resting Dak, weren't saying that. In this case, are we kind of saying, and is Tomlin kind of saying, you know, with Case Keenum, they don't really lose that much?
Yeah, I mean, the game plan doesn't change. So, like, when you go to a backup quarterback as a defensive player or defensive coordinator, you're thinking, all right, load the box, take away the run, make this quarterback beat us. If Baker Mayfield's in there, how's the game plan any different?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I guess you think Baker might be a little bit more athletic than Case Keenum, but other than that, the game plan, their offense is built around running the ball and play action.
Is this
you want to stop the run.
You're sighing. Is this not fair to Baker?
This whole topic absolutely infuriates me, because the idea that we're talking about we're debating Case Keenum versus Baker. Like, what are we doing?
I mean, we're not saying a healthy Baker Mayfield. He's injured, and the point is, nothing changes. This is a run-based offense, and you want to stop the run, whether it's Case, whether it's Baker, whether it's anybody playing quarterback.
Let me get Pollack in here. What do you think, David?
Well, it's a run-based offense without their best two runners, though, too. I mean, Nick Chubb didn't play. Obviously, Kareem Hunt didn't play. So it puts even more emphasis on Case Keenum, and the offensive line's been banged up. But here's the thing. Can Baker Mayfield right now, with how healthy he is, make a fourth down run like Case Keenum did in the Reds area last week? Like, it was a great scramble, broke a tackle, made a play. Can he do that? The answer is probably not with his shoulder. I mean, he's not going to take hits. He hit the ground last week or a couple weeks ago, and you could tell it knocked him out for the rest of the game. So if he's not healthy and it's a labrum, it's every time you get hit. Neek knows this too. Every time you get hit, you're going to feel it, and it's going to jack you up. So you might have to go with Keenum because of that.
Does it make any difference that Case Keenum once led Minnesota to the NFC Championship game as their starting quarterback with Kevin Stefanski as their offensive coordinator? Does that enter this conversation
It
anywhere?
absolutely does. Like, I think it lends itself to the confidence level, and that's why you mentioned earlier he had $10 million contract. It's not something you normally pay a backup quarterback. You do if you trust them, and you do if you anticipate that you're going to need them in moments like this. So you pay them like that so that you can have a couple weeks to give your starter some time to get healthy.
Final word, Kmart. It's your game.
Yeah, no. For this week, yeah, play Case Keenum. But going forward, the question of whether the Browns are in a better position long term the rest of the season without a Baker versus a
Play
Chase.
Cooper Rush.
I think that's fair. I think everyone sees that.
Cooper.
Okay, let me leave that there. We are almost wall-to-wall football today, but let's get you some NBA action last night. Let's go to the Garden. We got the Sixers. We got the Knicks. We got Joel Embiid, and he's struggling early. This is the very first possession of the game, and you see the Knicks strategy. They're double-teaming him immediately, and Embiid is throwing up an air ball, and you got him struggling here, and now he's not missing another one. Fourth time in his career he's held without a field goal in the first half. He finished 2 of 7 for 14 points. Meanwhile, midway through the second, Knicks, yes, it's Emmanuel quickly. There's only 3 of the game. Spike Lee looking nice last night. Take a look at Spike. I like the look. Knicks by 20 at the half, and then it's Kemba. He knocks down a 3. He had 5 threes, a team high 19. Knicks opening up a can. They're up 18 after 3. Then it's Evan Fournier. Knicks are 3-1. They beat the Simmons-less Sixers 112-99, and Tim Legler gets up with us early here. So it's been a little up and down start for the Sixers without Ben Simmons. What are you seeing from them right now?
Well, last night, I think what stood out to me most about that game was the frustration and body language of Joel Embiid. It was evident throughout the entire game. And the reason, I think, is because of the pace of their offense, the lack of playmaking in their offense. And obviously, Ben Simmons addresses a lot of this, Greeny. And I'm on record as saying you're not going to win a championship with Ben Simmons as your starting point guard either. But his level of playmaking compared to what they have now, it's exponentially different. And when they got their doors blown off last night by the Knicks, I think it opened Joel Embiid's eyes, and that's why he acted the way he did. Because, look, Tyrese Maxey, really good player. I love him. But he's a combo guard off the bench. That's his role. Shake Milton's not playing. People in Philly think that's the answer. He's Tyrese Maxey. And then now the other ball handlers are Korkmaz and Seth Curry. It's just not good enough. So Embiid has to ISO more. He's playing in traffic more. He's getting into some of those bad habits that he had in the past. And last night he looked frustrated the entire game because the Knicks were at a completely different level.
Now, again, Knicks 3-1. Embiid runner-up for MVP last year. Tough start so far in Philly. Meanwhile, let's go to the Lakers and the Spurs. No LeBron last night. He's got a sore ankle. Let's take you right to where this game was decided. 43 seconds left in the game. Spurs are down by 2. Legs, I just want you to watch Anthony Davis. Pay no attention to the rest of the play. This is Davis down, and he's hurt.
Yeah, that's not good, obviously. This is what you worry about. LeBron, obviously out already, and now you get a guy like AD. You know, he's had issues in the past with injuries keeping him out for large portions of the season. I think it derailed their season a year ago when he went down.
He stayed in the game, though. We go to overtime, 114 all. Russell Westbrook looked like a different player without LeBron on the floor last night. He scored 33.
Well, prior to this, he was like the Ferrari that you were only driving around your gated community on speed bumps. Now he got out on the highway, and he felt like himself.
Spurs down 2. This is Pirtle again. He had a big game, 27 points, 14 rebounds, tied at 121. Next possession for the Lakers. Kent Bazemore? No. Anthony Davis? Yes. Lakers back up 2. Under a minute left. Where are you going for the dagger without LeBron on the floor? They go to Russell Westbrook. And he delivers 33 points, 10 boards, 8 assists for Russ. Anthony Davis had 35 and 17. Lakers get the win. Without LeBron in the lineup, Russell Westbrook, his best game by far, shot 56% from the floor. In his first 3 games, he averaged 12 points a game and shot 35%. So it's kind of the good news, bad news of it all. Look how great Russell Westbrook is without LeBron, but you don't plan to be without LeBron much. So now what does all this mean?
But this is also the main benefit of getting him is the nights that LeBron will sit. I think, look, if you don't have Russell Westbrook, based on what LeBron said on Monday, maybe he plays last night because he doesn't want to lose a game and be 7 seed again like they were a year ago. But now you've got Westbrook. So LeBron says, you know what? I'll go ahead and take this night off. We have this guy as another energy source. He goes out and he gets you a win in the regular season. This is the primary benefit. Now, they're going to have to figure this out. It's Frank Vogel's job and LeBron James' job primarily. how are we going to function at our highest level when those guys are on the court together, mainly finishing close games in the last 5 minutes. But in the first 42, 43 minutes of the game, you've got to do a better job when they're all out there of staggering the minutes between LeBron and Westbrook. You just have to do it so we can see more of this out of Russell Westbrook as opposed to a guy that's just out there looking uncomfortable of how he can impact the game offensively.
We are essentially a week into the season, and I think that shapes up to be one of the 2 or 3 most interesting early storylines. Actually, the 2 that we touched on here, the Sixers without Ben Simmons and the Lakers and how they're going to work Russell Westbrook into the mix. More from Legs a little later as we continue this morning, and we got hoops for you tonight. We'll be back here. New Orleans trade